Attraction Club, and we're on the web at theunwayclub.com. On these hangouts, as you may know, we collaborate with our friend Jerome. This hangout is oftentimes the summary of our theme for the week and continues with our Q&A on our member conference line. You can get invites to our open calls, which we offer about once a month, and a free letting go process by going to theloaclub.com. Also, we want to tell you that we're having our next 4-week challenge in January about attracting more money. So we hope you will join us, and you will see information about that coming soon. Alrighty, now let's go over to Robin, who will be bringing the Torah for us today. So welcome all of you.
Welcome back to our discussions. There's a saying in this one's world, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. Now, you and we know that it's really nothing about what you do. So we would restate that as, if you always think like you've always thought, you'll just create more of what you've already created. What these discussions are all about is thinking differently. Also, as you and we know, if we're talking about a differently, that's at odds with some long-established beliefs you chose way back when and practiced and practiced and practiced, then it's not just about thinking differently once. It's about putting focus on that difference and practicing that new thought until you're aligned with it at all levels. When it has become part of your subconscious tapestry of beliefs, there's no power in heaven or on earth that can hold you apart from that new manifestation. It has become an integral part of you and your world. So now the question for each of you is, what steps do you choose to take right now to bring about that change you're looking for? Let's look at the basic mechanism, the relationship between the thinking conscious you and the subconscious you, by exploring how you drive a car. It's an example we've used before, but it's a good one. Think back to when you learned, quote unquote, to drive. Actually, you already knew how to drive because you had watched people do it over and over again for years. So what that, quote unquote, learning really was simply teaching your very powerful subconscious how to do it in real time, because your very limited conscious processor is simply not able to keep up with all of the sensory input and decisions and actions needed. So that teaching took place slowly and carefully on a deserted road or parking lot. Now when you drive, you can do it with no conscious thought at all about the mechanics of driving. So it is with your life. As you learned things, which really means as you made belief choices about things, you stored them away in that immensely detailed subconscious tapestry of expectations, mostly never to be thought of again. That tapestry is like a blueprint from which your world is constructed. That and that alone defines the reality into which you wake up each day. Nothing in your world changes until you make a new belief choice and replace that portion of the tapestry. Let's look now at how you do that in our driving example. Suppose you live where you drive on the right. like the USA, and you fly to where they drive on the left, say the UK, and you rent a car. If you now leave the driving to your subconscious, it's going to get much of it wrong with serious consequences. So you don't. You focus, and you focus intently. You take conscious control of just those aspects of driving that are now very different. It requires intense focus and practice for a short while as you update the learning process. And then in a short time, you're relaxing once again into that easy way of operating. You've retrained your subconscious. It now knows what you now consciously want. This is what you call being in alignment. Again, so it is with life. Firstly, be aware of how you're feeling, which points you to the pieces of that subconscious tapestry that are no longer serving you. Then you have to decide what you want. You can continue to live with the lie you chose back when, or you can have the life you now choose. The choice is yours. You can't have both. To make a change, you have to take back conscious control of some of those decisions. It takes focus and practice for a short while as you update the learning process. That's the work. But once you've enrolled your powerful subconscious once again as an ally, once you've taught it the new rules, you've literally stepped into a new version of you and into that new matching version of so-called reality. Remember, if you always think like you've always thought, you'll always create more of what you've already created. So it's 1, choose to think differently, and 2, practice thinking differently. Choose, then practice. Choose, then practice. Choose, then practice. As we take December to digest all the insights we gained during our November 4-week challenge, and we look forward to our next challenge in which we focus on money and abundance, we'd like to explore a little further the power of that 10 affirmations list. It's just one way of choosing and practicing. If it feels right for you, we say grab it and run with it. We're going to be taking excerpts from today's session and building them into a meditation audio with some background music. And this will be the start of a series of guided meditations we'll be producing as resources for all of you to use. They will feature us through this one and through our other channels here. So let's get into our list of 10. We're going to encourage you right now, if your circumstances permit, to get into a relaxed and meditative state and follow along as we say each of these. Then we'll expand into some deeper thoughts around all of them. And then we'll finish by going once again through the shorter version, which will be a part of the audio. So this time we spend today will be some practice in advance at letting you engage with ultimate reality, the truth of who you are and how you create everything around you in your virtual reality. So, are you ready? Take a breath. Go within. Let's begin. Follow these words in your mind. Number 1, I am an always connected extension of Source. I allow myself now to feel that connection. This is the ultimate truth of who I am. because this is the only thing that's fundamentally true about me in all realms across a timeless universe. This is the only thing that I am and can ever be. And yet it is everything, because I am a part of all that is. At my essence, I am God in every sense. And with these words, I experience my connection and my oneness with infinity. I am allowing myself right now to feel who I am. Good. Number 2, it's my belief choices that create me and my worlds. Everything is as I choose it to be. This is the ultimate truth of how I create. My desires and intentions and my chosen beliefs and expectations have shaped the individuation that is me. And the context that surrounds me is a mirror of those beliefs and expectations. The ultimate truth of why I am here in this space-time life on Earth is to experience the joy of making new choices and thereby creating new things. It's all up to me. Number 3, it's my thoughts that create. My actions are just the sideshow. Everything that exists as a thought. It is my thoughts that are creating the virtual reality that is this physical me in this physical world, with all of its actions and sequences and beginnings and ends and time that seems to perpetually march forward. And so even as I acknowledge that I am an action-oriented being in an action-oriented world, I also acknowledge that the determining factors of my existence are simply the things I choose to think. Number 4, every time I choose a different thought, it makes a difference. Each small choice, each deliberately different thought creates movement in the fabric of my existence. And as I be here and now in this place of playing with new thoughts, I treat myself with enormous generosity of spirit. Even as my mind wanders through many different rooms, I return always to the intention that I set. And I know once again that my world is now different than it was. Each new thought makes a huge difference. Number 5, what I choose has nothing to do with what anybody else chooses. I know my world has the appearance of being external, and it feels like I'm living within it. But I acknowledge that it exists within me. It's a movie playing on the screen of my mind, and it's the thoughts that I have and the belief choices I make that write that screenplay. It's those choices I make that invite onto my stage the players and the events that appear in my story. They appear in my movie even as I appear in theirs. It's all up to me. Number 6, no choice is more worthy or divine than any other. I answer to no one. I am not here to serve or learn or to pass some test. I am Source, and I'm here to experience another aspect of myself in this leading edge environment. I'm here to experience the joy of creating new things in this focused space-time world, whatever those things might be. One thing today and perhaps another tomorrow. I follow my heart. I'm here for the fun of it. It's all up to me. Number 7, I have not missed the boat. The next one is always about to leave. As I remember my timeless origins, and as I once again remember who's in charge, I acknowledge that there are never missed opportunities. Each new moment is a new decision point, and there are no limits here. A new choice means a new beginning, and I never get it wrong because there is no right or wrong to get. And I've certainly not missed the boat, because here it is, and I'm about to step aboard. Number 8. When I'm feeling good, I know that I'm heading toward what I want. Nothing is more important. I have come to understand that feeling good means that I'm in the flow, that I'm aligned at all levels with my desires and my connection to Source, and I'm becoming more and more aware, moment by moment, of how I feel. I truly appreciate that this is my guidance system, and the feedback infallibly points me toward my destination. Nothing is more important than feeling good. Number 9. When I feel bad, I realize I've dropped into one world mode, and I come back to these truths. I'm now profoundly aware of how I feel. I no longer tolerate feeling bad because I know it means I'm heading away from what I want. I'm committed to finding ways of moving towards that better feeling thought. It feels good to feel good. It feels good to know I can choose to change how I feel. Number 10. My natural state is well-being. As soon as I release resistance, I bob right back to the surface, back to peace and power, fun and freedom. I love this thought. It's inspiring to know there's nothing on earth that has the power to hold me down. It feels good to know that when I let go of those old habits of thought, reconnecting is automatic. And so once again, here are your 10 truths. Number 1, I'm an always connected extension of Source. I allow myself now to feel that connection. Number 2, it's my belief choices that create me and my worlds. Everything is as I choose it to be. Number 3, it's my thoughts that create. My actions are just a sideshow. Number 4, every time I choose a different thought, it makes a difference. Number 5, what I choose has nothing to do with what anybody else chooses. Number 6, no choice is more worthy or divine than any other. Number 7, I have not missed the boat. The next one is always about to leave. Number 8, When I'm feeling good, I know that I'm heading toward what I want. Nothing is more important. Number 9. When I feel bad, I realize I've dropped into one world mode, and I come back to these truths. Number 10. My natural state is well-being. As soon as I release resistance, I bob right back to the surface, back to peace and power, fun and freedom. Good. And now we'd like to briefly expand on this in our conference room chat. And then we'd like your feedback on whether you think this 10 affirmations list will be of real help to you. Remember, of course, that one size definitely does not fit all. Each of you must find your own best path to thinking differently. So for some of you, this will be powerful. For some, it already has been. For others, perhaps not. In which case, we'd like to hear what works for you. What technique best helps you pivot into choosing that better feeling thought? We welcome your thoughts and your interaction.
This hangout was the summary of our theme for the week. We do 3 live calls a week with Q&A for our members on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You can become a member by going to LOAclub.com/join. So our longer discussion continues now.